Okay, so for section 4 of chapter 6, we're still doing elimination. It's basically exactly what we were doing in chapter 3, or in section 3 of chapter 4, like grown up, okay? So here I have example 1. I'm not going to go through these steps because, like I said, we kind of know what we're doing. I think it's just easiest if we jump right in here, okay? So I'm going to look at example 1. Your first step is going to be look for factors. So is there a number in one of these equations that's a factor of a number in the other? And by that is 3 is a factor of 6. Okay, 3 can be turned into 6 through multiplication. That's what we're looking for, something like that. In this situation, to turn 3 into 6, you're going to multiply by 2. Okay, but remember, our goal is to make things eliminate. So I don't want to just make these two things the same. I want them to be the same but with opposite signs. So this is a positive 6. So I'm going to make this one, I want to be a negative 6. So to turn 3 into negative 6, I don't multiply by 2, I multiply by negative 2. Okay, and then rewrite your two equations. So my first one I didn't mess with. And my second one, I'm just going to distribute my 2 to every term, or my negative 2. So negative 2 times 2 would be negative 4x minus 6y equals positive 10. Okay, so now we're going to add. Okay, 5x plus negative 4x would just be x. 6y minus y, that goes to 0, so we don't really need to worry about it. And then negative 8 plus 10 is 2. So x is equal to 2. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to plug it in here. You can plug it in either one. I'm going to plug it in there. So I got 5 times 2 plus 6y equals negative 8. That'll give you 10 plus 6y is equal to negative 8. I'm going to subtract my 10. So 6y is equal to negative 18. Divide both sides by 6, and you'll get that y is equal to negative 3. So your point here would be 2, negative 3. And then you're done. So again, once we multiply and turn, we're just going back to what we did in section 2 and section 3, all those things, okay? So I want you guys to go ahead and solve 1a and 1b, and then check back in and see if you got them right. Okay, so for 1a, I can turn 3 into 6 by multiplying it by negative 2. So I'm going to multiply everything in there by negative 2, and that'll turn the bottom equation into negative 6x plus 14y equals 38. Add straight down, the 6x's cancel out. Negative 2y plus 12y, that goes to, or plus 14y goes to 12y. 10 plus 38 is 48. You divide by your 12 and you get y equals 4. Plug that back in, evaluate to get that x is equal to 3, and here is your final answer. On 1b, you had two options. You could have done what I did, which was I multiplied the top one by negative 2 to make q go away. Why I chose q? Just didn't really matter. You could have also, in this case, done and multiplied this one by negative 3. Okay, either way, you should end up getting the same answer in the end, which is negative 5 for q and 2 as r. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to solve now example 2 and show you how that works. So the only thing different between 1 and 2 here is that in example 2, you don't have a factor. Like, there's nothing I can multiply 3 by to turn it into 4, and there's nothing I can multiply 2 by to turn it into 3. So what you need to do is both equations are going to get multiplied by something so that you can make them the same. It doesn't matter which variable in these cases that you go to eliminate. Just pick one and it'll go away. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to eliminate y. So if I want to eliminate y, I need my y values to be the same. So both equations are going to get multiplied by a number. I want them to be the same with opposite signs. So if I want to make 2 and 3 the same thing, I'm going to multiply them by each other. So if I multiply this one by 3 and this one by -2, they're going to come out to be the same number with opposite signs. Okay? So 3 times 4 would be 12x. 3 times 2, 6y. 3 times 8 is 24. Repeat that. -2 times 3 is going to be -6x. -2 times 3, again, -6y. And then is equal to -2 times 9 would be -18. Here we have two numbers that are canceling. They're opposites, 6y and -6y. They're going to go away. So 12 minus 6x is going to be 6x, and that's going to be equal to 6. Divide both sides by 6, and you get that x is equal to 1. Plug this in to either one of them. 3 times 1 plus 3y equals 9. 3 plus 3y equals 9. Subtract your 3. 3y equals 6. Divide by 3, and you'll get that y is equal to 2. So your point is 1, 2. Okay, so again, it's almost the same exact thing as here, except this time we had to multiply both equations by a number to make something cancel out. Okay? All right, so go ahead and pause and try 2a and 2b. Okay, so for 2a here, you have I canceled out y again because I just always cancel out the second variable. But in this case, they already had opposite signs, so we didn't have to multiply one of them by a negative. We just multiplied them by each other, okay? So this 3 would be multiplied by a 5, and this 5 would be multiplied by a 3, which made them cancel out over here, okay? But don't forget, you still need to multiply every single term by that number. When you do that and you solve, you'll end up with x equals 0, which then you can plug in to get 0, -2 as your point. Okay, same thing over here with 2b. Okay, we have we don't have opposite signs, so one of them needed to be multiplied by a positive number and one of them needed to be multiplied by a negative number. Okay, and again I chose to cancel out the second variable b. So the top one got multiplied by the number in front of the second b, the second one got multiplied by the number in front of the first b, okay? That means my b's go away. Left me with 10a equals -10. Divided, and I got a is equal to -1. Plugged that in right there to find that b was equal to 4. And there was my final answer. Okay? All right, I want you to try this. Well, let's go through the word problem together. So it says, a personal aircraft traveling with the wind flies 520 miles in 4 hours. Okay? On the return trip, the airplane takes 5 hours to travel the same distance. Find the speed of the airplane if the air is still. Okay, so you need to come up with 2 equations to do that. So a personal aircraft is traveling with the wind, flies at 520 miles in 4 hours. So it's, okay, so you have the 520 miles and the 4 hours. Sorry, somebody came in, so I had to pause myself in the middle of my thought. But basically, what this problem is saying is you need to use the distance equals rate times time equation, okay? And this is an equation. I don't know if we know it, but we kind of need to know it, okay? So we need to have a time, which we have our times. We have 4 hours and 5 hours, so we have our times taken care of. And we have our distance taken care of. For both of these, the distance is 520 miles. The plane was going to and from the same location, okay? So it means we have our distance, we have our time. It's the rate that we're looking for, okay? And if we say that we're looking for the speed at which the airplane travels if the air is still, okay? So we're looking for the speed of the airplane. So we need to give that a variable. I'm going to give it A, or let's go with S. S, okay, is going to be the speed with no wind. No wind. Speed is another word for rate, right? So we have our rate with no wind, and then we're going to have our rate of the wind, or the speed of the wind, which we don't know what the speed of the wind is in this situation. We just know at one point we were traveling with it, and one point we were traveling against it, okay? So we're going to give that the other variable, which is going to be the rate or speed of the wind, okay? So basically what I know is if I take my distance, my 520 miles is my distance, and then my time, so my first time is 4 hours. So I take my 4 and I multiply that times my rate. Okay, on the way there, I'm going with the wind. So I have the speed of the airplane plus the wind. They're working together, so I'm going to add them together. And then on the way back, my time was 5 hours. Okay, my distance was still 520, but this time I was traveling against the wind. Okay, so I have my speed of my airplane, but the wind is working against me, so I'm going to subtract the speed of the wind. Okay, now I'm going to solve these. To solve these, you have two options. You can distribute, or you can simplify. So in both cases, we can divide out. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to divide this whole thing. I'm going to start solving in purple so we can, no, I'm going to do it in blue. I'm going to divide this whole thing by 4, and I'm going to divide all this by 5, okay? So then this equation becomes, the 4's cancel, S plus W equals, and then you take 520 divided by 4, and you get 62.5. All right. Then we're going to take 5. These 5's cancel, and we end up with S minus W equals, and then you have 520 divided by 5, which is 1. 520 divided by 4 is 130, not 62.5. I typed in 220, not 520. And then 520 divided by 5 is 104. Okay. Now we're just going to solve using elimination. Okay. I have two variables that are opposites of each other. So I'm going to add those up. S plus S is 2S. S is actually what we're looking for. Find the speed of the airplane with no wind. That is what S is. Okay. So W canceling out means we have even less steps to this problem. So that's nice. Okay, and then I'm going to take 130 and add 104. And that's going to become 224. Nope, that's a lie. That's going to become 234. And then you're going to divide both sides by 2, and you're going to get the speed of your airplane with no wind is 117 miles per hour. Okay? And then you would just write your sentence. The speed of the plane with no wind is 117 miles per